on to the content for today. But I just want to thank the parents here. Wonderful. You guys are very, very responsive group, yeah? Okay. All right. So, all right, back to the sharing. Okay. So, yeah. Again, for those of you who just joined us, it's okay. You didn't really miss much. I'm just at the introduction. And I just want to share that, these are very honest opinions on how parenting can be, yeah, or can seem to you. But you guys have a very important role nonetheless to raise the next generation, our next generation. And a lot of the parents sometimes can be unprepared, yeah, especially as the world progressed so rapidly and in a way that when we were young, we are not exposed to it yet, right? So it's a real new experience for all of us. So lots of try and error in handling our children. So that's why programs like these, coming for any parenting programs, getting content that's evidence based. Sometimes in social media they have lots of content that's helpful. It's good stuff. You can choose what's helpful and what's not. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, we're going to go into the tough part of parenting and talk a bit about that. Now, when it comes to misbehavior, I think some of the parents, that I've worked with will, sometimes ask, when they look at their children misbehavior, they ask, hey, is my child okay or not, Sharifah? Yeah, is this behavior normal? Is it appropriate or not? Like, have you seen other children like, like in similar situation like mine, that kind of thing. Then they will ask about, is there something wrong with my child? Why are they so difficult? Will they grow out of this space? So all these are very common concerns that the parents have on misbehaviors. Okay, I don't know whether you experience that. If you do, then just type in the chat and say, yeah, I think I can. I concur. Okay, all right. Okay. So just wanna acknowledge that yes, dealing with misbehaviors can be challenging for us, but these misbehaviors or the discipline problems that we see in our children and our teenagers are normal and they are inevitable. It's all part of growing. Yeah, and later I'll explain why a bit more. And I think what we need to do is we try to deal with it effectively as much as we can. Like all these common everyday problems like talking back, the disobedience, not cooperative, not following instruction, delaying from doing what they're supposed to do. All these things are minor, can be big things, but like it is considered as common everyday misbehaviors. So if you manage all these misbehaviors right now, it can really help you prevent more serious problems from developing later on. And serious problem I'm talking about is like it goes into like the lying, habitual lying. It goes into stealing, experimenting with substances, or getting trouble into school, truancy, all these things, right? It will prevent all these things. Okay. And that's why it's very important to see if there's any misbehaviors right now. Let's go head on and manage it. Okay. All right. And we'll talk a bit more about that later on assertive discipline. Yeah. Okay. One of the key goals of Triple P is really to help you reduce parenting stress. I know one of you actually wrote stress, right? So I hope that after today's seminars, okay, you are going to reduce your stress level, okay, because we are going to build your confidence and give you that understanding on some practical tools that you can use to manage your everyday challenges. Everyday challenges, they call minor stresses, can be compounded and then become very overwhelming. Okay, so we want to ensure we manage our stress levels and we are not reactive. Okay, instead we begin to respond with calmness. Okay, so we don't want to react, we want to respond. Okay, and why this is very important, and this is not part of Triple P, but I just want to share with you some of my understanding that can be helpful, right? Is that research have shown that usually how we adults or in general people we appraise stress actually affects our mental health. Okay, and there are two ways that our brain actually appraise stressful situation. So the stress comes, right, then the brain will like appraise it lah. Oh, okay, we'll decide whether it's a threat or whether it's a challenge. Okay, when the brain sees it as a threat, okay, the stressor will feel greater than our ability to cope. Then we will get anxiety. That is a mental health issue. Okay. Now, if the stressor comes and our brain sees that, oh, okay, it is, I might be able to, overcome this thing, then we experience a different side. We experience growth. we experience resilience. Okay, so this is how stress can get to us. Okay, it's either we see it as a threat or as a challenge. Same thing for us, same thing for the kids. Okay, if we view parenting, okay, in a very negative light, okay, then we also become reactive, and then it changes our response to our kids, right? Okay, and later we talk about that, and how we can easily fall into that trap. All right. If let's say we do see parenting in a more positive stress, because stress need to happen we need stress in our life, right? But we need to have it in a more positive way lah. Right. So if we begin to see stress, the parenting stress a little bit more positive, like, oh, okay, this is a developing phase, is I need to do a little bit more of this and less of that, right? Then you'll be able to find that, hey, you know what, I can manage this parenting problem that I have. Then you'll be more confident. Okay. All right. Yeah. So this really highlights how important our mindset is. Okay. And how the brain actually works, right? If you can, let's just look at the picture, right? In general, right, for our children, adolescents, I mean, children all the way to adolescents, the brain, right, there is two important parts of the brain, which is the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. Just remember these two, okay, already. So the amygdala is primitive, it has been developed since in the womb, and it's just developed up until they are early childhood, fully developed at early childhood. Amygdala, in control of the emotions lah. All right. And then the prefrontal cortex is the one that you like, which is the logical thinking, cognition, right? Reasoning, problem solving, logic, all is there. Okay. But this part of the brain is not developed until they are 25 years old. Yeah. All right. So the amygdala, the emotional brain, is developed way earlier than the logical part of the brain. Can you see the incongruence? Right. So when we say your children are emotional, right? Do you know why they are emotional? Not their fault. It's because of their brain. Yeah, how they are wired. Okay, so it's amazing. I always put this image in my head, or this understanding in my head when I see my children have a meltdown. Yeah. And that's why, and I hope this answers your question, why my child does things that don't make sense. Why she never think properly? These kind of thoughts we sometimes ask ourselves when we look at our children, right? Don't know whether you do lah, but sometimes I hear parents say that. But now we know, right? That actually this is the brain. All right. Okay. So very important. Okay, and I know you guys actually want the big hand, the picture is okay. Actually, this is just for illustration. I don't really have full time, but if let's say I do have later on, I can go back into this. I can circle back. Okay, don't worry. The hand model of the brain is an amazing thing. I tell parents to scan the QR code to just it will link you to this Dan Siegel. He's a professor. He's the one who actually create this hand model of the brain. It lets you understand that, or you basically summary, is just when a crisis comes to a child or to a person, right? Automatically the brain is flipped lah. Okay, and then the emotional part of the brain, which is the amygdala, is the one taking the front seat. Okay, the logic is already offline, disconnected. Okay, so you need to know when your child face crisis, or something lah, difficult situation or whatever the logic part of the brain go off already. It is the emotional brain that takes over. All right. So just need to take note of this. Scan the QR code at your own time. Watch the video. I love this video. And it's a very good reminder of why our children behave the way they do. Okay. Now, another good resource that I want to share, I think all the parents here would have, right? This book is given by your school. Okay. So this book, a lot of the points, right, are actually quite similar to Triple P content as I go through them. And I actually pull out some of the pages that is helpful and is relevant, so you can kind of like cross-reference between Triple P and the MOE content lah. They're good stuff. But you need to just pick out which is easier for you to remember. Okay. All right, so good stuff. If you don't have it, go to your school and ask lah if they can, they can give to you, because I also have it lah from my child's school. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we go into positive parenting, explaining to you why these positive parenting techniques are helpful. Because this approach, right, actually aims to help children develop and manage their behavior, okay, and their emotions in a positive way, okay. And we will explain to you how that's going to happen. All right. The main thing that it focuses on parent-child relationship. Okay, is the main thing, right? That's like the foundation, because that is actually the foundation of secure relationship, right? And if you have a secure relationship with your kids, you find that, because you are always there, you're present, you're always bonding, spending time, when the difficult behavior happens in future, they're older, right? You find it's easier for them to listen to you and obey more stricter rules or boundaries that you set because the relationship is there. Huh? So that's why the communication across family members are better because of this common understanding. All right. Now, lots of the times, this positive parenting focuses on the positive. So it's not really looking at the problem as a problem, because when we do that way, it's a deficit lens lah that we use, right? So we always want to uncover the strengths that the child have, and we build on it, right? And this is what therapists do also in sessions. So they always look at the strength and then they try to pull it out and use it in a difficult situation. Okay. So if I can give examples later on, we'll do that. Okay. It is really about planning ahead, right? If you don't plan, you plan to fail, right? So same concept, it's really about planning ahead to prevent problems from happening. So if you know your child got this, I see when touch the phone, that suddenly don't want to eat already. And you see it's a recurring problem, you know that okay, something's happening there, I need to do something. Okay. Or every time I want to bring my child to church or to temple, alamak, always got this thing about stomach ache. Then you know already, got something happening here. I need to do something about that. Something like that lah. Okay. So preventing the problem from happening before it happens. Okay. And knowing that using everyday situations as opportunities to help our children learn is the best way. Okay. We will give you, maybe we'll touch a bit about this later on. Yeah, but really using everyday situations to get them to learn is the best way lah. Then sit down, I want to talk to you about this, then they will like already shut down, or defense mechanism already go up. Yeah, so that's another approach that Triple P is suggesting. All right. Now, for seminar one, I'm just going to seminar one now. Yeah, I told you introduction very long one. Okay, are you guys still with me? Yes, okay. All right, if you're with me, okay, say yes, please. So I know you are here. Okay, all right, not to worry, yeah. Okay, all right, hope that you are still with me. Okay, thank you so much, Mummy. Okay, all right, so we are going to go into the 5 core principles of positive parenting. All right, now let's go into the first principle. These are the 5 main ones, yeah. Okay. All right. So the first one is having a safe and interesting environment. So I know when your children were younger, very young, okay, you were very concerned, right? You make sure the environment is safe, or put all the padded walls or whatever, right? Making sure that they are as they're learning to eat and walk, you make sure the environment is safe, right? So same thing. As they grow older, they need this continuous checking in and safety measures to be put in place by their parents. Yeah. Just because we want them to be independent doesn't mean we just propel them at the side and you know what, you try and do this on your own, see what happens, that kind of thing. Yeah, we need to put in some measures lah. Okay. So ask yourself some questions for your age group. The children are like preteens, going into secondary school and all that, right? Or even if you have younger primary school children, right? Yeah, ask yourself, when they are alone outside, they are walking back from school, do they know what to look out for? What to watch out when they're alone? Do they know who are the safety adults around them, right? If they are exposed to devices, which I'm sure most are, yeah, given your age group, yeah, mostly are exposed to gadgets, right? What are the online safety things? Are you just leaving it for the school to teach them, or do you come in and you concretize the learning, you go through a little bit more? Okay, right? What kind of level of supervision are we providing? Do we ask them questions about their friends and all that, right? So safety is not really just only physical safety, okay? Like, making sure the scissors are away, that kind of thing, right? Not only physical, but it's also emotional. Do we also provide a safe enough environment to talk about feelings? Asian culture, last time they say not so much, but now we are a little bit more, different. We are adapting to more westernized culture. We are talking about feelings a little bit more, and that's a good thing. All right. So that's emotional safety. Okay, so let's go into that a bit more. So part of creating a safe and interesting environment for our kids, right, is really starting with routines. And routines, and there's a lot of research to show the benefits of having routines. Not only it provides structure, and predictability, but it also helps your children to understand that, I have this set amount of time, I have this amount of things to do. right? It helps them develop time management skills, right? Some of parents I hear, they say, yeah, I don't know why, my child like always cannot eat on time or always take her time, wow, until like 1 hour, 2 hours, then yeah, okay. So sometimes you have to look into, okay, what is the actual flow of events or sequence of things that your child is doing in the day, to see how much time she dedicates to do certain things. All right, this is part of routine. Okay, all right. And in general, in terms of if you have younger children, you start young, right? Having routine, having consistent, this predictable environment makes the children feel safe. And children, right, actually, whether we agree or not, their brain actually thrive on structure and routine. Yeah, they thrive. Yeah, and as they grow, it becomes part of like a inner rhythm that they have lah. All right, and they are able to kind of manage their schedule, or they can schedule their activities a bit more soundly when they go into upper secondary school, sorry, upper levels. Okay, all right. But of course, let's say you have some set of routines, you have, your sequence of events for the morning or the evening, right? And then something happened, just let them know, right? I mean, it's good that we also keep a flexible side, right? Where we can say that, plans change, things happen, and sometimes we have to change the routine up a little bit. Okay, but other than that, it's pretty much quite fixed. Yeah, and I think I saw someone talk about phone is the biggest problem. Totally understand. You get frustrated. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's a very good question. I'm sure not only one parent face this, some parents also do it. Yes, and that's why providing supervision is another point that's very important, right? Supervise not only like, hey, who are you hanging out with? Who are you hanging out with, right? Where are you going, right? This kind of thing. What game are they playing? What app are they using? What privacy condition they have accepted in their phone? All these things matters, because the push notification that goes through your phone, whatever that the algorithm, that the big gadget developer or big app developers are creating. If you have time, you can go on and choose a book about any book about screens, right? And you can understand that actually all these push notifications are very important, right? As it fits, as your child goes through the content, right? The algorithm records what is the preferred content, and they will actually constantly push, right? That same content over and over again. That's why your child is always stuck. It's not really their fault. It's because they are already sucked into it too much. The dopamine already cycle already kick in. Every time click, 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 like. It becomes it becomes a constant cycle. So it's very hard for them to disconnect. And remember, between them and you, the difference is that mommy, daddy, emotional brain, not so much. Your rational thinking, I think you are mostly above 25 years old, right? Anyone below 25 years old? Okay. Now, okay, you're mainly over 25 years old. So your prefrontal cortex, the logic part of the brain, reasoning part of the brain is activated already. It's easy for you to disconnect. But yet we see some parents or some adults go into addiction, game addiction. Yeah. So but primarily, by right, adults are able to disconnect much faster, easier than children. Children are not, right? The logic part of the brain is offline. It's always the emotional brain, right? And this is the part that's always exposed to the screen, right? So that's where when they are getting the content, the dopamine feedback loop, they are just stuck in that cycle. It's very hard for them to disconnect. So it's really the sign. So that's why supervision is very important. All right. All right. And another thing is, take note that there is a research that I found, actually I find it very helpful. A moderate use of screen, keep it to 4 hours a day, or less actually, is a good practice, because if you use 4 hours a day or more, it has been shown to be linked to less curiosity, lower self-control, and increased distractibility in children. All right, this is a research, okay, and they say that between a child that uses 4 hours a day or versus a child that uses less, they found that 78% of these kids that use more, they are not as curious. 60% are not calm when they are challenged. So when they are facing crisis, pop emotional brain take over and take a long time. Okay, the rational part of the brain can't even go down as quick. Okay, that's a problem when it comes to problem solving. Okay, because you need logic thinking to solve problems, right? And also 66% are likely not to finish the task. Okay, these are if they are exposed more than 4 hours or more with a screen. Okay, so just take note of this research, scan the QR code, have a more thorough read if you can. Okay, if not, then that's the summary lah. 4 hours is your benchmark. Okay, all right. Okay, and having interesting things to do. We don't want our kids to get in trouble, right? So they say that if you have more interesting things to do beyond the screen, right, then it will really help them balance things off lah. Okay, I have one client I work with one-to-one. Definitely more than 4 hours in a day, right? Mommy decided to keep to 3 hours, and the child finds that, oh, I now have no other things to do. Right, in the next like 5 hours, I've got nothing. So decided to pick up a book which she has never done before for a long time and start reading. This is a secondary three teenage girl, right? It's amazing, right? When you take away something, suddenly other things will pop up. Okay, something to think about. I'm not saying you have to go and try it, but something to think about. All right. Moving on to principle number 2, which is on positive learning environment. Now, just painting you two scenarios. Okay, if let's say you have to put your child in a tuition class or enrichment class, and you have the chance to observe two teachers. Let's say this teacher, class A, is going around scolding the children, using very harsh sentence. Having, I keep repeating myself, you don't listen, you don't understand, that kind of thing. Class A. And then class B, right? The teacher is more calm, and say, oh yeah, this is actually incorrect, but I can see that you are trying, right? Come, let's try together. Which class will you send your kids to? So obvious here. I just need about 1 or 2 responses. I know you guys are still here. Okay, B. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Yeah, very cooperative group of parents. Okay, just kidding. All right. Yes. So far, I've never met any parent that says class A lah. Yeah. So same thing. Like plants. Our children are like plants. In order for them to thrive, the environment must be good. Soil, fertilizer, water, all must come. Right. Same thing. If our children are in a harsh and negative environment, it's very hard for them to do well. Okay, in fact, they will withdraw. They will build a very, very tall defense wall. Yeah, and they will shut everybody out. Okay, so that's why maintaining a positive learning environment is very important if we want our children to study. Okay, now strategies that we can suggest here from Triple P is about speaking. Firstly, speaking calmly and nicely. So something about your tone when you speak to your child plays a very important role. Yeah, and it's not only the words. Sometimes when you say certain things like, have you do revision, have you study, sometimes it is a little bit, sometimes it can be quite triggering right? But if you were to use a little bit of a calmer tone when you approach to remind them, right? Or maybe sometimes some parents nowadays, especially with the adolescents or the teenagers, they just text to do a check-in. That also works as well, right? Yeah. All right. Then another thing is really to spend time, talk and listen to your child. Very basic things. Really having that regular, consistent time. And I'm not talking about like solid 1 hour. You know what? I take a break. My 1 hour lunch from my work from home. I go and talk to my child. Then I don't eat. Not like that. No need 1 hour long. Just a short 5 minutes, 10 minutes of like random check-in, right? To listen to what happened in their day, or what say I saw this music video about this thing. I hear this song on the way to work. I mean, what do you think about this song? Or this, something like that, something that might interest them, right? Yeah, whether it's good or bad things, sometimes they like to talk about bad things. So yeah, go ahead. Hey, the world today, the war happening. Oh, have you seen the pictures? Something like that. If they are into it lah, right? Talk about what they're interested in. Basically, we want you to have more conversations with your child, right? Share your own experiences. If they don't really talk, like some parents might say, yeah, my children don't talk to me, kind of, right? It's okay, normal. That's normal, So you talk about your day lah. Today actually at work, right, I was I put my food in the fridge and somebody took it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I bought like one whole packet of Vitagen. Then I want to drink, only got two. Yeah, then my favorite flavors are gone. Talk about your day. Talk about the highlights or talk about the tragedy of your day. Right? Yeah. So just talking to them, right? And interacting with them matters lah. Yeah, as they grow older, this becomes a habit thing or like something normal in the family. All right. Another thing is being affectionate. I don't know if you guys are affectionate to your kids? I hope you are, because there is a heavy research on this, yeah. And hugs, kisses, a pat, a tug. As they grow older, you don't want to smother them with all these, like, touchy things. Huh? You can just give them a wink, or or a high five, these kind of things. Yeah, but research have shown that parents who are affectionate with their children, and this is a longitudinal research. So this research has been they study from I think the children are infant 8 months old until they reach 30 years old. So this is a longitudinal study, the kind of study that you can consider reading into, because not a lot want to do such intensive coverage or research. Yeah. So this research shows that when these children who have parents who are very affectionate, means you go into the that, like, you go into the heavy affection, like, you hug, you kiss constantly, daily thing, right? They find that when they are 30 years old, these children are actually less hostile. They are less likely to get involved in stressful social interaction. Means they have social pressures, but they know how to disconnect. Okay, very important. And they have quite low stress level and low anxiety, low mental health issues. Why? When we are affectionate, when we show love, when we show we care, all this, the brain chemical oxytocin, right? All right, this is actually released. And this is the main ingredient for parent-child bond, parent-child relationship. That's why when you go to the library, example, when you go to the library, you want to do parent bonding, but end up the child read the book, but then the mommy daddy don't read the book for them or with them. The mommy daddy use their handphone. Example lah, okay, no judgment here. Okay, all of us, some of us might be guilty, and that's all right. Okay, no judgment. Right, but this doesn't release any oxytocin, that experience. But you go out together, right? But there's no interaction. Okay, so that's why, or there's no like checking in, or there's no talking, there's no affection, right? Something like that. Okay, so that's my point. Okay, so you can go and scan the QR code. I think that's the research that I shared. Yeah, it's a very short read, but the summary is from 8 months to 30 years old, more affection, less mental health problems when they grow up. Okay. Now, praising is good stuff. Descriptive praising, basically going into explaining what is the example of the thing that you like them to do. Okay, the behavior. Go into the behavior. All right. Giving your child attention. This is the simple things I was talking about, right? If you don't go into the affection, you go into like a wink, a high five, like a fist bump, this kind of thing. It's good, right? So even if they are reading and they are independent readers, right, in the library, you want them to read on their own. Okay, you can just give them a wink when they look at you, when they give you eye contact. These kind of moments, these are precious stuff, precious moments, very spontaneous. Okay. Next is going to incidental teaching. Okay, basically using spontaneous in the moment to teach them stuff, right? Sometimes it happens, right? Example, somebody auntie go and press the lift door, then you can highlight that, because the auntie, despite despite her age, she's still very caring for us, and she doesn't even know us that well, but she still take go out of her way to press the leave button for us. Incidental teaching about kindness, right? And lastly is to get involved in your child's school. I think we no doubt have to get involved in our child's school. Yeah, from PTC, from volunteering. Yeah, understand what the school environment is like. If your child, especially if your child is saying, I don't like my school, it's stressful for me. Understand lah. Why is it stressful? What's happening? Who is the teacher that that you can talk to, that your child actually likes? You can have a conversation and understand. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So moving on to principle number 3. This is a very important topic. Don't worry. This is also in your tip sheet, so you're not losing out. Now, assertive discipline and it's linked to mental health. How is this linked? Okay, we'll talk a bit more. It basically involves staying calm. I'm just going to read you the definition, okay? Assertive discipline involves staying calm, firm, in a way when we enforce rules and limitations. Okay, it's about being consistent and acting quick when a child misbehaves, and discipline without using physical punishment. Okay, now how does it link to mental health? Yeah, because when a child knows that, okay, if I misbehave, this is the consequence I'm going to get, right? They know that, okay, my dad is always consistent. Okay, I know if I break this rule, I sure get this one. Okay, so it's predictable, right? So clear rules and logical consequences, right, gives the children a secure and reliable environment. And we talk about that in principle 1, how important that is, right? And this is the key to reduce anxiety. Yeah, and you can see in the screenshot here, which is inside the book, the MOE book. All right, it says that 1 out of 3 study, 1 out of 3 youths in Singapore, I think this is a sample of 500 people or something in by NUS, right? They experience anxiety from the age of 10 years old. Primary 3 already start facing anxiety. And anxiety is one of the mental health issues that is faced here. It's highlighted there. Yeah, and that's why it's very important for us to make sure, okay, when our child misbehave, sure, will misbehave, right? What are the rules that we're going to set? And what are the consequences they are going to get? Okay, so that's why this is a very powerful principle. Let's talk a bit more about that. All right, so how discipline will help? It will help you in all these areas. Okay, now because it is logical, it will make sense to your child. And chances are your child will be angry, throw a bit of tantrum, but they still can understand. Compared to you punish and you don't make it, it doesn't flow with the problem. For example, right? There's no linkage. Punishment, there's no linkage. So for example, child talks back. Okay. So consequence is okay, since you don't listening to what I said, I told you, right? I will minus off something from, I will take away your privilege, maybe take away like 10 minutes of game time, example. Okay, right? Logical lah, right? You don't listen to me, so our agreement of the playtime will be reduced. Okay, punishment. Oh, you don't want to listen to me. Okay, come here, I cut your hair. No linkage, example. Okay, right? So child also like to understand. Anytime I can lose my hair, that kind of thing, right? So there's the point here. Okay, so discipline really helps your child achieve all of these things. And number one, right, is I think I purposely bold it is because the importance of developing self-control. Okay, right? And when your child have self-control, it allows them to actually pause and respond. They flip when their brain is flipped, right? They are able to bring their rational thinking part of the brain down, and that takes over. Then they are able to react or respond better. Okay, all right. Yeah. So few pointers to take note. Yeah. Assertive discipline is not easy, but it's doable. Okay. Yeah. And it works best when the environment that your child lives in is predictable. So if you have all the routine structure, it's good because the child knows from time to time what to expect. Right. And if let's say their child is recognized for good behavior, yeah, more likely they will do that behavior again. If parents come in and talk to their child about their expectations, okay, I expect you to come home at within your curfew time. Your curfew is 7 o'clock. You have to be home by 7. They are very clear. It's very clear, right? And it's reasonable. I give you screen time, or you can use your handphone. You can play your game for only 1.5 hour maximum, and then after that you have to do your revision, something like that, right? They know what to expect. Okay, all right. So this is actually very reasonable lah. Okay, and then you also use predictable consequences, right? For example, if they don't listen, you take away some privileges. Okay, and if you are consistent, right? Today never listen, okay, maybe you talk back. Okay, so you give consequence A, maybe minus off game time. Tomorrow also talk back, then you forget to give consequence. Okay, so means this one is already not consistent. When we say when you give consequences, you have to be consistent, you have to give immediately, and you have to be decisive. So it means you have to be sure, you have to already plan as parents together talk okay, with your caregiver, sit down and talk. Okay, these are the consequences that I can introduce to my child. Okay, list it down. Privilege A, privilege B, privilege C. So if break this rule, okay, automatic all these privileges, any one of it can be taken away. So when the crisis happen, you on the spot already know what you want to take away. All right, it's an automatic thing. Your child also can see, wow, without any hesitation, mommy and daddy can give me this punishment, something like, can give me this consequence. Yeah, all right, making it sure that it's also fair because it's not in the moment of heat, right? You already plan it in advance. Okay, and lastly, parents to support each other. Yeah, I think this is a very important point. I've met lots of parents who told me that, what, in parenting, we are not consistent, we have different values and all that. It's okay. Sit down, talk it out, put your child in the center. What will benefit your child? Talk about around surrounding that. Okay. The best it will work if both parents are consistent. Okay, because parenting is a partnership nonetheless. All right. So some of the strategies that we talk about is preparing in advance. Remember, if your child will misbehave, when they are hungry, bored, or when they're tired, or combination, right? We need to prevent this from happening. We need to intervene before it blows up. All right. Having basic ground rules important. You can just go and stick with less than 5 simple ground rules at home, like speak politely, use your polite voice, clean up after yourselves. All these things are very relevant to your age group of kids. Okay. All right. Again, praising good behavior and all that I already explained earlier. All right. Watch and supervise. That is the being consistent, giving immediate consequences, and very decisive decision making. All right. Okay. Use plan ignoring for minor behavior, especially teenagers or adolescents. They like to roll their eyes, yeah, or they like to like stick out their tongue behind our backs. If you can ignore this, it's not big deal, right? Then ignore it, because you have to choose your battle. Yeah, mommy, daddy also have to protect your mental health, huh? Yeah, if everything also you want to come in and address, then very tiring for you. Yeah, so choose your battle. Use plan ignoring. Okay, if it is a minor misbehavior. All right, directed discussion for rule breaking. Sometimes children or we parents can be very quick in repeating the rule or telling them the rules, right? We don't do that. Okay, we try to remind them, hey, you know what? What do we say about speaking or asking for things? Is that how you ask for things? Can we try again? Then you get them to try again. My daughter always forget. Primary one, ma. Yeah, sometimes forget one. So I just said, hey, is that how we ask for things in this house? Oh, then she like, oh, no, no, no. Then she will correct herself. This is how we concrete, or this is how we scaffold the learning. We already teach them. They know, but they forget. So we ask them to recall. Okay. Uh, next is giving calm and clear instructions. Later we watch some videos. Okay, you can see, because this is the most stressful thing. Yeah, when they don't listen to our instruction. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you backup. Okay, if let's say they don't listen to instructions, or they're not listening, you can actually do two things. Okay, quiet time and timeout. Okay. All right. So this is only for I think it's suitable for children up to 10 years old lah. Yeah, because as they grow older, they are not likely going to cooperate. That's where you have to do other things, like taking away privileges, introducing something unpleasant, like giving them more chores time, giving them a little bit more, adding on to the homework time or revision time, something like that, right? Yeah. So take note. So quiet time and timeout is similar. Okay, we will go through it in session 3, but generally, just have a space for them, okay, to sit down and calm down, and don't interact within that time. Okay, whatever the duration of these two things is, half your child's age. Okay, child is 10 years old or 9 years old. So half of it is just 4 years old, for them to sit down and calm down in that period. Okay, all right. Okay, now let's watch a short video, okay, to show how not so good way of giving instruction.
Before we talk about the best way to give instructions, let's see a not so good way.
All right, big guy, ready to stop playing now? You need to take care of your toys so you can get your shoes on. We can go to Grandma's house. Oh man, the blocks are still everywhere.
You may have noticed some less than perfect things about that instruction. First, this father called from another room and never had his son's attention, so who knows what parts of the instruction he heard. Second, did you hear what he said?
Ready to stop playing now?
That's a question, not an instruction. You shouldn't ask a question unless it's okay for the answer to be no. Also, this dad never actually told his son to pick up the toys. He said, "Take care of your toys." But that could mean a lot of different things. It's too vague and makes the child have to guess exactly what is wanted. We often say things like, "be good" or "behave yourself," but children may be confused about exactly what that means. Finally, this dad just said too much. Listen again.
Ready to stop playing now? You need to take care of your toys so you can get your shoes on. We can go to Grandma's house.
Notice how he gave the reason for picking up after the instruction. There was also a second instruction to put on shoes that was hidden. Giving lengthy reasons after instructions or giving multiple instructions at once can be distracting or confusing for kids, especially if they're already having a hard time listening. They're still learning to hold a lot of information in their head at once.
Okay. All right. So we watch a video on how to give good instructions. Okay. Right.
Hey, buddy. It's time to go to Grandma's house. Put the toys in the toy box. Good job. Picked up all your toys. Now come with me. Put on your shoes.
That was much better. Did you notice how the dad got his attention? Told him exactly what to do, used just a few words, gave the explanation before the instruction, and focused on just one thing?
Okay. All right. So that's an example of the good way and the not so good way. All right. So reflect on how you have been giving instructions. Okay. And I'll walk you through as I walk you through the flow chart. Okay. Now, so in general, there are two types of instructions. You either give an instruction to start something, new activity, all right, or new behavior, or to stop. Okay. So it's a start or a stop instruction. Okay. So the start instruction is given when you want your child to start doing something lah. So stop instruction is to stop what they are doing. Usually when they are about to, like, hitting or fighting, this kind of thing, or, you want them to stop watching TV, stop using their phone. That's where you use a stop instruction. Okay. So as per Triple P, they are saying that when you use the start instruction, you get to ask 2 times. So for example, if I walk you through the flow, you give the instruction, okay? You wait for 5 seconds, look on the left side, right? If your child doesn't do as asked, you repeat the instruction again and you wait for 5 seconds. Okay. So of course, all this, you must make sure before you do this, you must have the eye contact, be in the same room as them, right? All right. And let's say the child does not do as asked, you give the logical consequence. Okay. So if your child is below 10 years old, 10 and below, you give the timeout, or you give the timeout. Easy. Okay. If they're outside walking around, you are at the playground, or at the supermarket buying something, do quiet time. Same thing. Okay. All right. Same like timeout, but you don't have a space to put your child in lah. So you just put your child, walk beside you. Serve their quiet time right beside you. Okay. All right. If you are walking at the supermarket, have them hold the trolley. This is for children up to 10 years old. But for older children, right, logical consequences, like I said earlier, remove the privilege, introduce something unpleasant. Either or. Okay. All right. Now, if let's say the child does as asked, after you ask 1 time, 2 times, does as asked, right? The child follow, you give descriptive praise. Yeah, hey, Sarah, I know it was not easy for you to put down the toy, but you did. I'm so proud of you. Thanks for doing that. Or just say, well done. Don't have to say thanks. Okay, just say, well done. All right? Something like that. Descriptive praise. All right, now stop instruction, okay, they say only say 1 time. Yeah, and then after that, you give the instruction, and then after that, you wait for 5 seconds, and then if the child doesn't do as asked, pop, straight away logical consequence. So quiet time, timeout, or remove privilege, or introduce something unpleasant, something like that. Okay. Now, if your child does as asked, no problem, give a praise. Okay. Now, what I find when I did this, because I also give instruction every day, right? Sometimes I ask stop instruction, right? I have to ask a few times. Yeah, not say 1 time then immediately follow, right? So I have to, you have to see your child, right? Usually I will ask 2 times. To be honest with you, in terms of my practice, I will do 2 times. But Triple P say do 1 time. But how is relevant for me? Because my child is very young. Okay, sometimes I will do twice. Okay, yeah. Sometimes she doesn't hear or what lah. Okay, can. Okay, but the important thing is look, pay attention to your tone. All right. Yeah, it must be firm and must be calm. Okay. All right. So that's the way we give instructions according to Triple P. Okay. Now the next thing is having realistic expectations. Remember, this is also one key aspect of mental health, not only for the children, it's also for us. Yeah. Very good for us to for parents to ask ourselves, hey, you know what? What are my expectations of myself as a parent? What are my expectations of my child in her current environment? Could be in school, could be as a child, right? These are some of the things you can ask yourself. What do I expect? Okay. If do I expect them to be more disciplined, more self-motivated, more independent, do I want my child to be more nurturing to the younger sibling? I don't know. Do I want her to do revision on time? What is your expectation? You have to reflect. Okay. All right. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, at this age can do or not? Yeah. Or need a bit more prompting, a bit more intervention, a bit more intervening by me. Yeah. And if I need to intervene, how? How can I intervene? What are some of the rules? What are some of the routines I can put in place? Very important. This is the practical aspect. Yeah. You have your expectation, but how are you going to get there? That's where the rules come in. That's where the routines come in. So ask yourself, okay, I'm going to set rules on this, right? I'm going to set rules on, yeah, this problem A, problem B, this misbehavior. Then you ask yourself, is there too many rules or not? Can my child follow? Rule of thumb, 3 to 5. Another rule of thumb, if your child can recall all the rules, means it goes inside the head. If your child cannot recall the rules, it means that the child has not learned any of the rules. The child has not internalized the rule. Means the rule is there just for show. The child have not internalized it yet. This is what I understand lah. Yeah. So very important. Okay. Ask yourself, can my child does it? If you're not sure, okay, you know what? I'm not sure whether this is a normal behavior. The child, the phone is just sticking on the child's hand and don't want to be removed. I have to talk to other parents and understand, whether this is their situation too. And if their child can disconnect, what do they do to help ensure that something like that? You can have a conversation with your parents. I have one parent who actually had a teenager who has screen issue lah, as usual lah, always got screen issue problem. Then he very angry already. He patch check already. He want to set 45 minutes of screen time. And then I also, 45 minutes of screen for teenager. Okay, that's going to be very tough, challenging, because the homework itself can be longer than that. Yeah. So how do we approach this? Okay, so ask him what what does some of the other parents in his class do, right? Yeah, then he talk. Then he found out that actually, some of the parents allow 2 hours of screen time per day. So I adjust that. So there, see how the parents actually set a more realistic expectation for the child. Then he won't go into a roadblock, and the child won't go into a crisis with the parent. Okay. Lastly, ask yourself as a parent, hey, what are my expectations of myself as in taking care of my children, right? Sharifah say, screen is no good, that kind of thing. Research say like that. Then I cannot watch any Netflix anymore lah, because I usually watch 4 episodes, and for more than 4 hours, how? So how? Right? What are my expectations for myself? How can I balance things? Right? You also need to know what works for you. Okay. So I mentioned earlier, right? When you are in crisis as parents, we usually revert to how we were brought up as children. So think about that. How were you parented? What were your parents like? And do you like that? And then look at how you are parenting your children right now. Yeah. Are you copying or mirroring your parents? If you are, then look at how are you gatekeeping this? If there are some things you don't want to bring forward and you are doing it, how do you gatekeep? How do you pull yourself back? Yeah. And with that, I'm going to go through the last principle, which is taking care of yourself. And this is very important stuff, because today we're talking about mental health. Yeah. And there are so many, but one of the important psychologists I like him so much. He actually dedicated his whole life to study relationships between couples, and then he moved on to understanding parent and child and family. So he's called Dr. Gottman. I don't know whether you're familiar with him. Dr. John Gottman. He has an institute. He came out with this love tank theory, which described how relationship is like a love bank. Got deposit, got withdrawal of emotional energy, not money, but emotional energy. All right. So if you have constant positive interactions with your significant partner, with your family, you will fill up your love tank. Your love tank is full. Your account balance very high. Okay. But every negative interaction you have, you suck it out from your love tank. It goes down, down, down. Okay. Now, the only thing is, remember I talked about the flipping of the brain, how your child's brain is, right? The emotional brain is more developed than the logical brain. If your love tank, if your own emotional love tank is empty, is deficit, is less, how are you going to fill up your child's emotional love tank, considering now you know that your child are very emotional creatures? Does that make sense? And that's why sometimes we go into certain anxiety, stress, like certain withdrawal, because our tank is empty or our tank is running low. And we have to think about how do we get it up. Okay, so it's very important thing to always fill up our tanks first before we can fill up our child's tank. Okay, something to reflect. In the book by by MOE, page 41, you actually have this content. Okay, these are some ways that you can look into caring for yourself. Do you guys have some self-care routines, mommy? Just maybe important here. Just share with me if you have one or two, some of you. Any self-care routine. Don't worry if you are watching, Netflix, is a way to self-care. That's fine. You're adults. Yeah. Anyone can just type in quickly like some of your self-care routines that you do. Yeah. Sometimes I get quite upset, in certain situations that's triggering. I put on a face mask. I just find it's relaxing. The coolness, just brings my mood down. Yeah, much faster than drinking water lah. Yeah, and then usually face mask 15 minutes. So 15 minutes of just that me time. Yeah, and that coolness for the mask from the fridge. That works for me. Some of you say baking, going jogging. Oh, jogging, very good exercise. That one, all the positive hormones, endorphin all come out. Very good. Netflix, yeah, watching some TV, right? Taking some me time for yourself. Yeah, so you need, so good that you are aware of your self-care routines because you're gonna need it when you're stressed out, right? I'm sure you have come across this mindfulness in your working environment or people tell you family and all that. So it's important to take note because we forget. Okay. Now, one thing I want to talk about, thank you for parents for sharing. Yeah, keep it going so the other parents can read as well. All right. One thing I want to just highlight here. Now, parenting is greatly affected by our emotions. We know that. So when we are stressed, angry, and anxious, and all these things, it's very hard for us to be patient. And one way for us to kind of manage or help us in in maintaining a more balanced emotion or balance or more stable emotional health, right, is to be mindful of our negative thinking, our negative thoughts. Yeah, in the book they talk about ANTS lah, autonomic negative thinking, but that's too technical, but you can read more when you have the book. Okay, all right. So if let's say you do have a difficult day lah. Let's just do a bit of a visualization exercise. We still have time. Okay, think about you have a in one of the rough day that you have, you miss the bus, and then while you are on the bus, it was raining. You step on a puddle, you didn't see, and your shoe got wet, and then your bag is heavy because you have laptop. You need to work from home tomorrow, so you have to bring your laptop home. Oh, then at night yeah, I need to send that one email I haven't sent yet. Okay, so lots of stuff that happened to you lah. That's a tragedy now. Okay, and then your meeting got extended. You didn't get to eat your lunch properly. Yeah, then you come back home. It's dinner time. Imagine, everyone sit at the table. Your children all there, right? And then as you are eating, your child spill the bowl of noodles, make mess on the floor. But you're so tired already. Yeah, in this situation, can some of the parents agree or disagree that you will start to think negatively? Yeah, the tendency for us to go into that chillax. Okay, yeah, so some of us actually we have the tendency to just go into might go into a rage or might just like, oh man, how can you do this to me, right? Yeah, and all these unhelpful thoughts may come. Yeah, and we may even take it personally that our children don't understand. You are always, you're always doing this to me. Already I'm so tired afterwards. Yeah, so as parents, I acknowledge it's not easy. We flare up. Sometimes we get upset with these kind of minor things. Yeah, but it's great to us because the moment is bad for us. We are just very tired and it's very tough for us, right? So one thing is that just want to just acknowledge, yeah, we are naturally hardwired, predisposed to have negative thinking. That's why it's very easy for us to remember some negative things about our friends or people around us, then we can remember good things about them. Yeah, because we go into a negative thinking first and then positive. Unless you have been habitually practicing to think positively, then you naturally will go into that positive thinking first. Yeah, but if you are not practicing it consciously, then you are predisposed to always think negative first. Yeah, as a defense mechanism. Okay, right. So generally we are already quite tired as parents. In Singapore they already show the research that Singapore adults are one of the stressed out populations. Yeah. So during this time, I think one of the helpful thing that can help us to sort out the unhelpful with helpful thoughts is really to just get out of the situation, get out of the environment for a while, just remove the visual stimulus that you are looking at, and then go into your self-care routine for a while. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever time that you need to calm yourself down. It's called timing out yourself. Once you have done that, during that period, you can then swap out your unhelpful thoughts with your helpful thoughts, because you are attending to your own emotional brain. You are bringing your prefrontal cortex down. Your brain is flipped also. So you are bringing your logical thinking brain down. And that's where you start to think. When you constantly do this, it will become a habitual thing. All right. Because our brain way of recording this, right, is very important. Scientifically, the brain will register this because of the plasticity lah. Okay, it's a Hebbian learning thing, and is this a theory that says that you start to make your brain make connections between neurons repetitively. All right. So if let's say you are always going into something happened and you are thinking, you are not going to think negative, you're going to think positively, it becomes a pattern that you get into. Yeah. And it forms a habitual way of thinking lah. Yeah, I don't know whether it makes sense to you, but I'm just saying that, yeah, it's very good for you to be aware of your unhelpful thoughts and get yourself out by timeout and then go into helpful thinking. Right. So every time you get into a triggering moment, do this practice. Okay, the more you do, the more your brain will register this is the way of doing things. Okay, yeah, because of Hebbian theory or Hebbian learning, your brain plasticity way of learning lah. Yeah, okay, I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so I don't have any research, but I mean this is based on neuroscience, yeah. Okay, Ken. So changing how you think. Okay, so again, this is not easy. Like I said, we don't have a button that we can press. So just take note of what you are feeling. Okay, with your child, identify the feeling, identify the things that you tell yourself, the unhelpful things. If you are constantly going into unhelpful thinking, negative thinking, write down somewhere what is the standard things that you always say about your child. Okay, very important to actually take note, especially if you are saying the same things over and over again about your child, because we don't want it to be a habitual way of thinking about your child, right? We don't want to think so negatively about our child, right? We don't even want to go there, right? Yeah, so that's why how we respond or what we think about is very important. Okay. All right. The next thing is just to make sure, right, if you do need support, ask for it, right? Share the workload fairly, especially when it comes to caregiving, because like I said, parenting is a partnership. And talk to your parents, talk to your partner and everyone around if you're having parents staying with you. Yeah, talk about what you want to change in your home environment, what are the things that you're doing right now. So everybody can go into an agreement. Okay. And if let's say you do face a shortcoming, or like, I can't do this thing, I can't do this, I can't manage this behavior, then your other parent or the other caregiver can come in and step in and help you out for that moment. Okay. All right. All right. Problem solving discussion, we will talk about that a bit more in the next seminar. Okay. After this. Okay. So just going to go into the first poll. Just going to ask you, okay, after learning a little bit about today's principles, the first 5 principles, what are you likely inclined to begin with? Just something simple. Very good question. What about single parents? Yes, I think single parents, definitely. I know the stress can be much more because you're doing it on your own. But yes, like I said, it is a partnership. So if you have people around, right? And it doesn't have to be informal, means it doesn't have to be just family and relatives. Yeah, it can be friends as well. So that's why having a community of people, right, of parents with children of similar age group can be very helpful to single parents, and talk about things and have like a sounding board. Doesn't mean they say you follow, okay, but just hear what others are doing. Okay, so if I can just get Shami, if you can help me launch the first poll, and I get some parents to parents can just respond what they would like to do, which principle they are more likely inclined to try. Okay, yeah, you don't have to try everything for sure. You just have to choose, like, which one you are more likely to try given your current situation. And I know most, I think some of the parents always highlight, they always want to focus more on discipline. Yeah. So, don't know this group. What do you think? It's about 100 over, yeah? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think the results are in. Yeah, you guys are still responding. That's fine. But I can see that the leading one is having a positive learning environment. And that's most important, right? Actually, because right now our children are in formal learning years. Yeah. And they are going to pick up new skills. They're going to develop new skills. And if you have a positive learning environment, you can see that actually, yeah, the nurturance, the nature and nurture will work very nicely together. Yeah. And of course, the second leading one is assertive discipline. Yeah. Providing that very clear, consistent ground rules, yeah, all these are very important things. Yes. Okay. And yeah, okay, very good. Thank you so much for sharing, parents. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to let you see the result. Let you see. Okay. So you can see, okay, yes, the leading one is positive learning environment. You don't want to be the teacher in classroom A, eh? Okay, okay. All right. Now moving on to the next seminar. I know we're gonna dive right in to seminar 2. But of course, if you do need a toilet break, please do so. Yeah, have your meet seminar snack. Okay. All right. I hope you guys are ready for round 2. Okay. Okay, all right. So good that you guys are quite responsive in your chats. Yeah, keep it coming. I'm going to try to still like touch in if I can get some questions answered. I will do that as well. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to talk about the 6 building blocks for success in this seminar. Okay, these are important things. Yeah, and I'm sure you're not unfamiliar with it. All right, we're gonna show you. Yeah, gonna show you the 6 building blocks. These are things that you are probably doing. Okay, but a question I want to ask you, um do you agree that these are important things or important areas that you want your child to develop for better functioning right now and for the future? You agree that this is important? Need to get your buy-in. Yeah, need to get your buy-in to whether this is important. Yeah, because this is actually the basic ingredients for raising confident, competent children, right? Yeah, and we'll go into each of these components during this seminar. And in your tip sheets, each of these will also be explained in great detail. So again, for parents who ask about the slides, yeah, we're not be able to give you because of copyright issues. Yeah, we'll get in trouble for that. But the tip sheets will cover everything. Okay, unless they are not covered, then I will actually I will let you know. Okay. Okay, Ken. So we are in the right seminar, yeah, because you all mainly agree that these are important stuff. Okay, so let's begin to this seminar by watching a short video of what confidence looks like. Okay.
Confidence. It's a word you probably hear a lot, but what does it mean? Confidence is believing in yourself and your abilities. When you are confident, it means that you recognize the things you are good at and are happy to give new things a go. Having good self-esteem is a big part of being confident. Good self-esteem means you accept yourself and you feel positive about yourself, just the way you are. But sometimes it's hard to feel confident and good about yourself because we get caught up in comparing ourselves to others around us. But the thing is, everyone is completely unique. Even identical twins are unique. Everyone has different bodies, cultures, religions, styles, skills, and abilities. Comparing yourself to people who are different in all those ways is exhausting because you'll never be exactly the same as someone else. So instead of focusing on other people, why not figure out what you can do and focus on being the best version of yourself possible?
Okay. All right. So basically, from this video, we know that confidence is just the belief in yourself and your abilities, right? The mindset that you can do it. And competence is the actual ability to perform something successfully, right? Okay, so I think it's a very good example that I just want to share. I hope you guys don't mind. I use my own example. This is an actual personal example and a learning point that I actually did recently. So in general, my house, we don't really have ice cream. It's off limits. Yeah, this is a reward system that we have. For ice cream. So my primary one kid gets it as a reward. So every time she gets spelling, she does her spelling 10 out of 10. For English or for Malay spelling test, she gets ice cream as a reward. Yeah. So while my intention is actually to motivate her to do well, which is to build competency, the ability, right? I in unintentionally, or I didn't realize it, that I'm sending the message that, hey, you know what? The effort and the progress isn't enough. For those days that she didn't get 10 out of 10. There are some days she didn't get, yeah. Yeah. And so I was she gets the message from us that, oh, you know what, only perfect results matters, because that's when I get ice cream. Okay, so over time, if this continues, right, the focus will be mainly on achievement over effort. Then it's not a positive mindset already. It's always achievement, right, not effort. So I don't work hard. If I know I'm going to fail, I don't work hard lah. But if I know I'm going to be able to do it, then only I work hard. We don't want that. We want them to work hard nonetheless. Right? Right. So this is something that I realized, hey, alamak, I made a mistake. So how I rectify my mistake? Because we want to build confidence and competence at the same time, right? So the days that she told me, and this was just like 2 days back, yeah, she told me that, oh, you know what, I didn't get my dictation right. I get the lower and uppercase wrong, but everything is right. So then in this situation where she tells me she did something wrong, or she wasn't so happy with her grades because she didn't get the ice cream, right? I celebrate her success, but not by buying her ice cream, because that's clear cut is a reward. Ice cream, reward. I don't want to confuse. I see ID competent, no competent. I consistent, right? Decisive and immediate, right? So I just say, oh, okay, wow, thank you for telling me. That's amazing. You know what? I can see that you have put in effort, amazing effort, and you knew all the words and your sentences were right, right? Yeah, but there was just this little mistake. Is this an area that you want mommy and daddy to help you out? Understand a bit more about the upper lower case? We go into that because she highlighted the problem. So we go into whether or not do you want me to attend to that problem, because she already highlighted the problem. If she didn't highlight the problem, then I would say, oh, do you know? Oh, what do you think have gone wrong here? Or what do you think is an area that you want to work on a bit more? Then we open invite and ask her what is the area of problem that she see lah. But in this case, she already openly tell me her problem is the upper lower case. I go into problem solving with her, right? Okay, so this is an example that I hope it gives you an understanding between confidence and competence. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to go into block 1, which is talking about respecting others. Now, in your MOE booklet, page 19, later we will share with you a soft copy of this. You can see page 19, they also talk about respectful, role modeling, respectful conversations with your family. Okay, yeah, and that's why it's actually important because in Triple P, they also talk about why showing respect is an important thing, and how if you have respect, or if you are a respectful person, you are able to do all of these things, right? Simple. Yeah, you don't even need reminding, right? You are able to be polite, you are able to be very cooperative, you follow rules easily, right? And when you know how to address people around you. Okay. Now, encouraging politeness, you can do that by, like I said earlier, the MOE booklet, they also say role modeling. Okay. So we role model how to be polite ourselves. Okay. Not only in the interaction between mommy, daddy, which is very important. So that's why they say don't argue in front of your children. Don't quarrel and bicker. Okay, because this actually shows them, or they're learning how to be respectful from our interaction. Okay. All right. So really, when you are interacting with the cashier at the supermarket, is also a way to show politeness, right? Or when you're ordering food, you say please and thank you also. Same thing. Role model, they follow. Okay. All right. Then we can prompt our children, okay, and remind them how to talk politely. Sometimes they use certain impolite words lah. They say uh, uh, rude words to us, right? So we use this opportunity. Of course, we will correct them. We will say that, you know what, we don't use such language in this house. How can you say it better, or how can you say it differently? We ask them to say it again, okay, instead of telling them what to say. All right. Yeah. Again, children, they already know, but they forget. So we just remind them. We ask them to recollect without telling them the answer. But if really they are stuck, really genuinely stuck, then you can come in and give them the answer lah. Okay, but most times they are able to think of it themselves. Okay, then if they are doing polite behavior, they are doing the good, all this good behavior, again, descriptive praise, because letting them know that they have done well makes them feel good, confidence goes up, self-esteem goes up, they are likely to do that again because everybody wants to feel good in general. Okay? All right. So if let's say they are rude and unpleasant, do not give them what they want. So never give the children, our kids, what they want if they are not following instructions, if not following rules. Okay? No matter what, stand your ground. Okay? Because we don't want to do accidental reward. Ayah, it's okay lah. Maybe this time around you have a bad day. Memang lah, just give the ice cream. No one. Cannot. All right. If you have a bad day, attend to the feeling. Tell them, hey, you know what? I know you have a bad day. It was rough. You lost the basketball match, But I'm letting you know I'm here to if you need to talk to someone, I'm here. I'll be in the kitchen. If you need me, I'm there. Okay? No way that you can give anything pleasant if they are talking to you in a rude behavior, because that's just accidentally rewarding that, and they will learn that, okay, you know what? It's okay. Some days I can misbehave this way. I can talk rudely to my parents and I can still get what I want. We don't want that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what is cooperation? Cooperation is also another part of respect. Okay. So if your child is cooperative, generally they can do all of these things, right? When you ask them to do, when you ask them to stop doing something, they are able to follow, they are able to listen, they are cooperative, they do this straight away without complaining, and generally they get along with children. Okay. I don't know if our children are generally very cooperative. I know my daughters are not so cooperative. I don't know if your children are, but if they are, yeah, wonderful. But if they're not, then it's part of growing up. Yeah. How can we encourage cooperation? Usually when we give instructions, right? So for example, just now you watched the video about giving instructions, right? It's on YouTube lah, so we'll just share you the link if you want to watch again. Yeah, but generally, when if you want them to cooperate, after you give instructions, or when you're giving instructions, these are the standard things that you should just pay attention to lah. All right. Always remember, get in the same room as them when you're giving the instructions. I know sometimes you're in the kitchen, you just want to get things done. But if you want better cooperation, you have to do a bit of legwork lah. Okay, really getting close to them. This is for young children. Eye level, arm's length. It's for young children. Okay, I would say below 10 years old lah. Primary 3 don't need to go into this, close eye level or that. Okay, but below you can go into this eye level. But after above that age, you go into the same room can already, within the same proximity. Okay, always use the child's name, Sarah. Okay, give the instruction, mindful of your tone. I would like you to pack your bag now. That's it. You can say please if you like, but if you forget, it's okay. Forgive yourself. Okay, you can say thank you after that. All right. Pause 5 seconds. Remember, give them time to register. Okay, sometimes they take more than 5 seconds. Yeah. All right. You see your child lah. Okay, the threshold. My child at least less than 10 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Praise your child if they do as you ask, Sarah. You did as you are told. Mommy is proud of you. Okay. All right. Repeat the instruction if let's say they're not listening. Again, because this is a start instruction, right? So you can repeat. You say, Sarah, do you hear me? I said I would like you to pack your school bag now, please. Yeah. Okay. All right. So then, if let's say they still don't listen, like I said, you have two kinds of, there are some logical consequences you can consider. Okay, so you can say things like, Sarah, you did not do as you are told. I will take away 5 minutes from your playing time later. This is losing privilege. Okay, but if below 10 years old, you can say, okay, you're not doing as you are told. You will go for timeout for 5 minutes. Okay, yeah. Or you are not doing as you are told. Okay, I'm going to introduce something. I'm going to get you to do some cleaning after this. After dinner, you're going to wash the plates. Something like that. Okay, all right. Now, building block number 2 is talking about being considerate. Now, considerate is quite different from cooperative. So cooperative is more like, they know about their own needs and wants. So the child knows what they want, what they need. Okay, and then they are able to balance this with another person's needs and wants. Okay, but considerate, right, is about just thinking about other people's feelings and recognizing that. Okay, yeah. So for example, if your own children, primary school go recess and then they are queuing for food, somebody cut the line, okay? Then your child is really very hungry, right? So if you were to use a cooperative example, it's like saying that, I know that I'm hungry, but that child is also hungry. The child is late already, okay? Because in a rush, need to get something done, okay? So being cooperative, okay lah. I never mind lah. How about I let you queue this time around, but next time in class, you have to let me wash my hands first. Something like that, being cooperative lah. Okay, right. Considerate. Oh, the child already, your child queuing up, and then the other child cut the line. They look very frantic, red face already. Then your child will ask, "Hey, are you okay or not? You look quite red in the face." Being considerate. Okay, asking about the other people's feelings. Yeah, how many of our children are very considerate? Can ask about other people's feelings. Okay, just type in the chat. If you think your child is naturally considerate, naturally empathetic, yeah, you can acknowledge that and recognize that. Okay, so generally being considerate is all of these things. Yeah, is being able to do all of this, or some of this, or most of this. Okay, all right. And how do we encourage consideration? Yes, some of you can say, yeah, your children is considerate. Yeah, sometimes a selective consideration. Okay, at least give them strength. Yes, at least they are able to be considerate to some people. That's good also. Now, how do we encourage consideration? Look at all of these things. These are not new things. These are things that I've already explained earlier, some of them. Yeah. Now, I'm going to launch poll number 2, and then just reflect for your own child. Right. What are some of the things that you want to focus on a little bit more to encourage your child to be considerate? So if your child is not so considerate, what are the things you are going to consider doing a bit more? Okay, so if we can launch the poll, all right. And if your child is already very very considerate, right? What are some of the things you will want to explore a little bit more? Yeah, what will help your child basically be more considerate? Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll just maybe do this a few seconds, maybe about 10 more seconds. Okay, responses are coming in quite quickly. Nice, you guys are thinking on your feet, yeah? Okay, all right, so you can just round it up. I think most of the parents have already answered. Close battle across all. Okay, great. So let's see the answer, your responses. Yeah, okay, so most of you actually, most of you actually said no. The highest score is model being considerate. Yeah, correct, right? Yeah, because the saying monkey see, monkey do. Yeah, but we model, and then the children is like a sponge and they will absorb. Yeah, right. And sometimes they actually learn. We are their best teachers actually, and they learn the best from us. Yeah, so that's a good point that you want to try doing a bit more of. Yeah, and another thing, praise your child for being kind or helpful. Yes, because feel good, that feel good experience, or that moment that they have, the oxytocin that's released, right? Yeah, they will most likely repeat that same actions again. So this is positive reinforcing. Okay, pointing out others' good points. Children, they don't really think of other people easily. They think about themselves more lightly because they are self-centered. They are made to be that way up until they mature a bit lah, become older, I think in their upper primary. Yeah, that's where they are able to think about others a bit more. So if you are very consciously pointing out, you know what, that cashew is so helpful, begging this together, wow, very helpful, so that my veggie don't get mashed by the potatoes. Wow, this kind of things where, yeah, point out other people's acts of consideration. Yeah, because then they will learn, maybe next time when I bake, I also wouldn't bake this way. Yeah, so let them learn from example. Awesome. Yeah, okay, very good. And I just want to point out, I think can stop sharing. Yeah, encourage your child to make amends, because you know what, children, they make mistakes. Yeah, right. And it's a natural occurrence of things. So other than just asking our children, you know what, say sorry, say sorry. I always hear some parents say sorry now. Actually, they just say sorry is lip service. Sometimes they don't even know what they are sorry about. We can actually get them to make amends by, you know what, that person, what you did, make that person feel certain things, and I know you have said sorry, I know you apologize, but that doesn't change the fact that that person feel that, right? So what can you do? What can you do to help make amends or help that person feel better? Get them to think lah. Okay lah. I just now push Mei fell down, got scraped the knee. Okay lah. Then I help her put her shoes on now from this period on lah till her knee get better. Yeah lah. When my daughter, the 3-year-old scratch, when my daughter, no, my 7-year-old scratched the 3-year-old, I didn't just say, you say sorry can already, I actually, because it's a real scratch, it's an actual, you can actually see the injury. I get her to really make amends by getting her to help wear the sister's clothes, like put on the sister's clothes button for that period of for some period lah. Yeah, just to make the point, just for her to remember that she actually caused injury. Yeah, just want her to know the gravity of the situation. Yeah, okay. So yeah, thank you so much, parents, for sharing. Yeah. So moving on to block number 3, which is having communication, good communication and social skills. I think the parents here can all agree, right? As working adults or as people interacting in the community, we know that having good communications and social skills is very advantageous. Okay, we are able to maintain, friendships, maintain, good neighborly relationship, right? Yeah, and even well liked by our peers at work. Yeah, and also we just naturally don't get into argument or disagreement with the people around us, right? And that's why it's very important. And one of the ways that we can do to encourage friendship, and friendship is actually one of the component of having good communication and social skills, right, is to maintain friendship. Okay, so we can show interest. We begin by showing interest in our child's friends. Okay, if we can go a bit more, understand or find out more about their family. Okay, if you are your group of parents, we always have like birthday parties or get together celebration. Yeah, so always think about going lah. Yeah, go because you can get to interact with other parents, get to know them a bit more. Yeah. And you can also know your friends, your child's friends from there as well, what they like doing. And then, if they have trouble with friendship, you already know, you roughly know, yeah, this is the friend I saw that time at, my daughter always like to follow this friend, that kind of thing. All right. You can expect appropriate behavior from your child and the friends. If let's say you notice that one friend is misbehaving for some reason, yeah, you can actually go into correcting that behavior. If it means talking to the other child's parents, right, to manage that, you can do that as well, because that's all part of growing up. Yeah, if the other parents are not, they might not be parenting the way you are parenting. That's a normal thing, right? But some other parents, they don't even go into positive parenting because they don't go for such programs, right? So you can also use that opportunity to bring awareness to them. And sometimes you might say, oh, I don't want to overstep boundary, I don't want to say too much, right? But if it concerns your child, right, you can say that. Yeah, it is your right also to ensure your child is safe. Yeah. And so I think, this is generally just some pointers for you to encourage friendship. Okay. All right. Okay, so any questions up to this point, you can also just type. We are moving to the last few blocks. Okay, so this is block number 4. Okay, we are talking about healthy self-esteem. This is a very important block, yeah. Okay, now if you have positive self-esteem, naturally your child will be happy, cooperative. They will be more successful at completing their task, and they are able to maintain friendships. Okay. If they have a lower self-esteem, they will feel all of these things. Okay, one or more, if not all. Okay, all right. And if you can look, if you have access to the book, page 30, they will say that actually the risk factors, in a child developing mental health, one of the risk factor is issues with self-esteem. That is a psychological factor. So that's why it's very important for us to look at our child's self-esteem. Okay, all right. Okay, so if you look at the book that you have, okay, MOE, later we will share with you the, I think Shamini already shared with you the soft copy. These are all the areas, and you can see in Triple P and the MOE book, the toolkit, they are very consistent. Okay, all right. These are ways that you can build healthy self-esteem, right? Firstly, creating the safe and predictable environment I explained earlier through routines, through structure, right? These are good stuff. It's also mentioned in page 11. Okay, encouraging an active lifestyle, mommy and daddy who are jogging, who are exercising, right, who's always outdoor. This leads to positive body image, right? All right, it boosts self-esteem. Naturally, endorphins are released, right? Feel good hormones are there, right? You are going to naturally have a very good positive body image, okay, or self-image, which improves self-esteem. All right. When you are affectionate, you say, you show affection. Don't necessarily you have to say I love you, but really showing different kinds of affection to your child, but constant and consistent, it will help them feel good about themselves because they know that they are loved. If you feel loved, your love tank goes up. Remember, these are all linked, right? Yeah. And then the next thing is trying to encourage your child to set goals. This is on page 9. This is very good. Page 9 are helpful because they talk about SMART goals. Triple P, they don't really go into detail. Yeah, but the toolbox did. All right. So SMART goals, right? Tell them, you know what? You want to get spelling 10 out of 10. You want to read how many books this week? You want to go into how many pages? You want to clear how many pages of revision? Yeah, set small goals for them. Okay. If they reach it, when they reach it, they feel good. Self-esteem goes up. Okay. The important thing is mini steps or mini goals, but workable goals. Right. Yeah. And then the next point is on letting her see. Okay. It's really encouraging your child to see successes, not only the outcomes, but also the effort. Remember my mistake about the spelling? Yes. Always recognize effort first, not outcome. Okay. All right. Because we always want them to build confidence. Yeah, competence will come later. Confidence must go up first. Yeah. All right. And if let's say your child, and I think this age group, your child will be already able to express their thoughts, going to make decisions already. Very good. This is a very good milestone. Allow them autonomy, right, to get what they want, okay, or to work towards what they want. All right. For example, you are making I told you about the ground rules, right? You have to kind of like set some structure at home. Get them involved, right? Get them to sit down. You know what? I see that our mornings are chaotic. You are on the left, I'm on the right. Everybody's doing their own thing, and then we will leave home late. This is not how we want to do things. Let's sit together and think about, okay, what are some of the things that we can set in place, right? What are some of the rules that you think might be helpful? What are things that we can do together as a family? Weekends we are always like just watching shows, and we're not like interacting. Okay, what are some of the ideas of outings that we can think about? One person say A, one person say B. Okay, all right, I can hear differing thoughts here. Never mind, it's okay. I welcome all thoughts. Yep. But let's set aside, okay, maybe on some days we'll do A, some days we'll do B. Maybe Saturday A, Sunday B. How does that sound? Okay, get them to be part of the decision making process. Sometimes we want our children to make decisions. Yeah, I know in school they are on their own, right? They need to make all this decision making. Where do they start practice? At home. They don't start practicing decision making in school. They have to start somewhere, and it has to be in a safe environment, and it has to be at home where you are the guidance teacher and you are guiding them, right? Okay. Okay. Lastly is on maintaining or maybe getting friends, right? And maintaining friendship. Yeah. So this is very important because as our children get older, the friendship will become the main thing that main important thing lah in their day to day. They go to school, they think about their friends. What I want to I want to hang out with my friends. Yeah, their life will center around their friends. Even go online or on their phone, laptop, whatever, they are gaming, also got their friend, right? So maintaining friendship is very important, right? And sometimes friends, the not so positive influence, they're going to impact your child's self-esteem. Yeah. So how do they know? How can they differentiate between a good friend and not so good friend? Yeah. What are the things that they need to look out for? Right? Those are things that you can talk about. Sometimes our children, when we talk about friends, especially the older ones, they shut down, they block us off. Ah, sometimes we say, hey, this friend is toxic, the behavior toxic. Wow, big word. They shut down because you are attacking the friend, they get defensive. Because friendship very important, especially upper primary or maybe going to the adolescence phase. Yeah, so these are the type of situations where you talk about, hey, you know what? when I was growing up, I have a friend. Let me tell you about it. Do you want to hear? You talk about your experiences. That's how you know, how you can actually introduce the topic of toxic friendship without telling them that their friend is toxic. You use your own example. A workplace friend, maybe. Yeah, right? Interaction with a toxic person. Yeah, something like that. But of course, don't label lah. Don't label. Just go into a general example of how it made you feel when you experience that. Yeah. So make it about you and your experience. Then your child will be able to see a parallel similarity. When my friend did that, I feel that as well. Then they will have like a good comparison. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Sometimes when we are too direct, they shut down. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, so these are all the pages. You can do a screenshot. You can take a picture of all these because I actually do a cross reference. I think they are good materials. Yeah, very good step by step. Got all the acronym you can remember. Okay, yeah. Okay, just gonna maybe count down 5 seconds. Yeah, and then you can just take a picture. Okay, we're good. Remember, if you don't have the book, go back to the school and ask for it. Okay, I'm sure. I don't think no school will get it because it's a MOE publication. All right. Okay, now moving on to block number 5, which is talking about problem solving. And we know that problem solving is super important. Yeah. And if you can recall the first seminar, I talk about the flipping of the brain when a child faces crisis, emotional brain takes over, rational thinking is offline, right? Remember this when we are talking about problem solving. Okay, because sometimes our children make bad decisions or not so good um problem solving, right? Then yeah, we must understand that is because the emotional brain is the one doing the problem solving. Okay, so when our child faces a problem, one of the common reactions that they will face might be panic, right? Might be panic or frantic, yeah, depending on the situation lah, right? But generally, they can be in that mode lah, right? At least from my observation of my kid lah, when she cannot find certain things, her pinafore cannot plaster, she'll be like, how, something like that. Okay, so firstly, like I said, emotional brain, right? We have to attend to the emotions first. Okay, if we go into rational thinking, yeah, it's okay, we just have to adjust, I can, yeah, that's problem solving for them. Right? But if we want them to problem solve, we have to calm their brain down first. So attend to the emotion. Hey, I can see that you are feeling very anxious here. Yeah, okay, you know what, let's just take a few breaths. I like to, because my kid is still young, I can do the blow candle thing. But your kid is a bit older. Yeah, okay, so if you have young kids, right, you can get them to do breathing exercise, like, okay, I have candle five finger out here, right? Okay, blow the candles out. So they will like, right? So they are breathing and they are blowing out at the same time. Small children. Older kids, okay, you know what? Have a drink of water, go and take a shower, go listen to your music, calm yourself down first, okay? Okay, or maybe a hug, right? Yeah, okay. And then don't go into problem solving. Okay, so one of the ways that can help problem solving, according to Triple P, these are some of the ways, right? Exposing them to games, all right? Those games that do like problem solving, I'm not too sure, but like there are some games like board games, like rush hour shift kind of board game, that one you can consider doing. Those problem solving, like who's who, that kind. Yeah, those are some games that can promote thinking in a very relaxed environment. Uh, as you said, good example. So when that you face a problem, you also don't go into the panic mode lah in front of your kid. You try to like, okay, you know what? Whoa, that's a big problem. Wow, I don't know how to solve this, but let me just think. This is a very good example, very good role modeling of you trying to solve the problem by like, okay, you know what? I'm going to breathe first. Okay, I'm going to take water first. Okay, then let me calm down first, and I will get to the problem. When you verbalize this way, your child also learn that, okay, next time when I get into similar situation, I will also take water and slowly drink and then think. Your child will learn. That's one way to, yeah, to manage that. Okay, And then another way is also to get them to think of answers. I know sometimes when they are faced with problem, we are too quick to solve it for them, lah, which is because it's faster, right? Yeah, and it gets things moving. But we want them to do problem solving. So if we are too fast to jump in and give them the solutions, they will not really learn how to do it on their own. Okay, so what we can do is if they are in a frantic mode, get them to calm down. Okay, again, do the breathing, do the drinking water, showering, whatever that gets them to be a bit more de-escalated. And then say, okay, now I hear what's the problem. Okay, you lost this thing. Okay, when was the last time you had it? Okay, what can you do to what can you what can where do you think it might be at this I don't know lah. That's why I asked you. Okay. See, I didn't wear the singlet. You see, I wouldn't know where it was. Okay, have you checked? Where are the areas that you have checked? Where do you think you can check? Ah, give them the prompts. Okay, get them to think about where the answer or where the item might be. Okay, right. So the idea is not to give them the answers too quickly. Unless they are super stuck, then we think about we will move on to giving them the answer lah. But later we'll talk about that. Okay, there are some things that you need to look out for. Okay, all right. Right. If let's say they are able to do problem solving on their own, yeah, my friend didn't talk to me today, and then I look at her and I don't know what I did wrong. I think about it, but I really didn't do anything wrong. So I decided to approach my friend and ask, hey, so and so, you don't talk to me in the morning assembly. When I sit beside you, I'm not sure why. And then my friend told me, oh, because that day, PE, I didn't partner her. Then your daughter told you or your son told you this story. Then you can, oh, you say, your friend, oh, okay, oh, you managed to, don't just take it as a story, but just say, wow, I hear that, you were unhappy with how you were being treated by your friend, and you managed to solve it on your own by going to your friend and asking what happened. You go into that script with your children, and then you praise, wow, something came out from it. You got your answer from your friend, and now you know what happened, right? You praise them. You were very brave to approach your friend and ask. Yeah? Okay? All right. So congratulate them when they are able to do problem solving. And then another thing, if let's say you have the opportunity to solve a problem as a family, involve your child as well. Yeah. So for example, like no, I can't think of anything right now, but like if let's say you have a problem that you need to solve as a family, like cannot think of a breakfast place lah, or what, child A wants this place, child B wants this place. Okay, let's sit down. How can we decide on a breakfast place that everybody can agree on? Problem solving, right? If you have like a shower issue, like morning time, rush time, everybody wants to shower at the same time. Okay, sit down at another time, in a calmer timing. Okay, you know what? I see that, I noticed that in the morning, everybody's like rushing in the toilet, and, like child A is screaming at child B to faster brush teeth because child A want to use the toilet, want to urgent. Yeah, how can yeah? Let them think of the answers together. Sometimes they think of answers, you don't agree, it's okay. You just go into, all right, I can hear, no, thank you so much for contributing your ideas. I can see that you work hard to think about that idea, huh? Yeah. But what about you you come up with another idea? If let's say that idea that your child gives is not workable, or you can even challenge the idea that your child gives. But do you think that waking up early, your child A wake up at 5 a.m. Is too early? You think she can wake up at 5 a.m. considering that she's already struggling waking up at 7 as it is? Then you ask your child back that question. Okay. All right. The idea is whatever suggestion your child give, let's not be too quick to shut it down, because then they will think that, oh, every time I give idea, my mommy daddy don't take me seriously, or they will make fun, or they will just shoot me down. That's not a nice exposure lah to problem solving as a family. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. All right, now this is the loop. You can take a screenshot. This is not inside the tip sheet, and it's not copyrighted. So this is just just a problem solving loop. Inside, later I'll show you, inside the MOE toolbox also have. Okay, all right. So firstly, identify the problem. All right, go into ideas, right? Like, how are we going to solve this problem, right? List out all the ideas, even nonsense ones. I just list it down, okay? And then you go into selection, okay? You go into choosing what might work, right? what might not work, right? Select. And then you go into building and testing the idea. That's really just trying it out already. Okay. Then after that, come back and review. Okay, did it work? Did it work waking up early? Did it work that we all have, oh, sorry. Did it work that we all have our own route, like timing for the toilet? Yeah. Did it work that child A wake up earlier? Yeah. Or should child B wake up earlier on some days? Maybe this week child A, next week child B, this kind of thing. Yeah. Right. Review. Okay, so this is a problem solving loop. Okay, there is an explanation of this in the tip sheet lah, not to worry, yeah, but a bit, yeah, similar lah. Okay, if you want more detailed example, can also be found in the MOE book. See, they have a acronym here, SODAS. Okay, it's on page 24. Okay, this is a very good example of how you can go into a problem solving approach with your kids. You break down the problem into small bits, right? And then go into solution developing or solution making. Okay? Okay. All right. It's very easy. You can read this on your own, no problem. But if you have any questions, you can ask later on. Yeah. Okay. All right. This is the part. Okay. Now, one area important to highlight. Yeah. How do we differentiate between opportunity to problem solve versus signals of distress? We need to know, because Sharifah say, hey, we should prompt our child to solve problem. I just leave her and solve the problem. I give her prompts and then I let her do her thing. But you need to look out for this. Okay, the signs of distress. Okay, because we talk about mental health, right? Problem solving is one of the areas that can cause anxiety. Yeah, and if it's a persist problem not being solved, it can cause distress, and it can your child can spiral. Yeah. So while we want to encourage our children to solve problems on their own, to be independent, sometimes they just struggle. They just cannot do it. Okay. And these are the signs that will tell us that they cannot do. They are not ready yet. Okay. Even our prompts, even we do the problem solving loop also, they are not there yet. They cannot do it yet. Okay. So when we find our children showing any of these signs or signals, we need to be a bit more attentive, and we need to help them, guide them really hand to hand lah. Yeah. Really guide them slowly, right? Giving them the steps. Okay, this is found on page 31. One of the things that I think is quite easy to see will be the eating. Suddenly no appetite, don't want to eat. Favorite food you cook, so don't want to eat. These are things very obvious because it's a basic need, and suddenly it's no longer a need. How can, right? Another thing is sleep pattern. If you see the sleep hygiene getting worse over time, recurringly having nightmares, right? Don't want to wake up. Not because not enough sleep early, but still have difficulty waking up. These are all telltale signs of a child in distress. So look out for these signs. Okay. Another thing is fatigue lah, low energy. Something to do with just their mood lah, their mood change, their hormones, right? And then it will lead to energy. It will affect their energy levels. Okay. So this is a very good page for you. Just take note of if you do have a child that's facing a problem right now in school or in the environment. Look out for these signs to see that, okay, I'm going to make a decision to intervene because I see some of these things happening already. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I found that this page was very helpful for me. Okay. So the last point is on building block number 6. We are talking about building independence. Okay, the time now, we still have time, okay? So not to worry. Okay, so becoming independent is definitely one of the area that's important, and we should actually propel our child to be independent because they are going to be, they are going to go into, young adulthood quite soon if we have teenagers now, yeah? So it is preparation for them, yeah? And in primary school, they already have to be independent, right? Even my primary one, now you say have to be independent, must know how to tell time, right? So these are things that we really have to expose them with, right? And we must encourage. Okay, so sometimes some parents have told me that they feel left out. They feel that they as the child become more independent, they feel they are not needed lah. Yeah, so I know this happens, but I think we try not to take it personally, because this is just really a need lah for the child, yeah, to develop over time. Okay, because they are going to get out of our houses when they grow old. Yeah, that's what they are, they are supposed to do lah, to be independent and living on their own. All right. So what we need to take note is that when we want tasks to be done quickly, sometimes we fall into the trap of helping our children or taking over that task. Okay, and then this is where they will grow reliance on us. Okay, so just be mindful of that. If you are doing that, be conscious of the task that you are coming in to do a bit more of, and then try to pull yourself back. Okay, now how does being independent help? Okay, so basically these are the things. If your child is independent, naturally they are able to do all of these things now, right? But most importantly is the confidence. If they are independent, they feel that they have control over the environment, they know what to do, they know what to expect. Confidence also go up. Okay, all right. And these are the behaviors that will actually show independence. So for primary schoolers, being independent will look something like this, right? Being able to really go out on time, right? Get dressed, shower, brush their teeth, wear their shoes and done. Okay, they are able to help out with simple chores. If you have older children, a bit more chores. The number of chores, yeah, still simple, but the number of chores might be more. Maybe instead of one, they do up to 3 chores. Okay, like washing their own utensils, yeah, putting their dirty clothes in the laundry, even that sometimes doing laundry and folding laundry, putting clothes away for the family. So all these things are just chores that they can do. All right. Now, yeah, they are able to look after their own things. You give them a set amount of things, they're able to make sure that it's safe, right? Sometimes some parents I know, they are the adolescents and the preteens or the teenagers, they're able to cook and use the tools in the kitchen safely. All right. Sometimes they are able to even do tinkering. They have parents who are good at certain like robotics, or they are like doing some carpentry. They are able to help out with some tinkering at home. Yeah. So these are ways of showing independence, and we encourage it. Making the bed, right? Yeah, all these things are good. Okay. Now, these are some strategies. So this is a strategy more for developing independence in the morning. Why? Morning and afternoon, after school is always the focus, because these are considered high risk timing, where the children are usually in the morning, they are tired. Okay. And children misbehave mostly under these 3 conditions: hungry, tired, and bored. Yeah, hungry, tired, and bored. Yeah. So in this case, in the morning, they are tired and maybe they are hungry because they haven't eat ma. Okay, so let's walk through this example, some strategies for the morning. So again, plan ahead. If you see that, okay, I need to prepare all the uniform and all that. Yeah, put that out there. Make sure that it's organized, neat. They know where to find their things. All right. Because it can be quite frantic in the morning. Yeah, be organized, have everything ready. Avoid distractions. Don't allow any phones or any gadgets, before school. It's a good practice. Yeah. And yeah, have a schedule, right? So roughly they know what to do, like the sequence, like shower and have your breakfast first, then then after that get dressed and then go to school. Okay. And constantly praise them. All right. And if they forget, give them prompts like, hey, you know what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to leave the house in 5 minutes. What should you have done now? By now, what should you have already been like? What should you have already completed, or what's left? Something like that. Okay, from them. Okay, so after school, same thing, right? This is also helping them to manage their time better after school. Again, having the same similar predictable routine, right? Like, so you have like shower, unwind and relax. You have all these dedicated fixed time, or fixed time to do the fixed activity. Okay, ensuring healthy snacks. Sometimes so I know I've worked in sessions where the children actually have certain, like example ADHD, and the parents give like more sugary foods and like bubble tea and all that. So in therapy we struggle because we see, oh, that the children like energy peaks, right, because of the snacks that they get. Yeah, so you can see that how it changes between therapy sessions. Some days the condition is still the same, ADHD, but the sugary drinks and the food that they take actually plays a significant role, and the role is, and the change is like a huge change, significant change. Yeah, so healthy snack is very important. Be mindful of what your child eats nowadays. As parents, educate yourself in the labels and what certain ingredients are, and you can see a switch in moods. Yeah, moods. Yeah. Okay. Then decide on the starting time of homework and stick to it. Now, we know that there are some parents who have values like, okay, do work first, then relax. Okay. Some parents a bit more different, say that, okay, you know what? I value self-care, relax first, then do homework. Depending on what your child needs are, right? If your child respond better with relaxing first, then do homework, you follow that routine. But make sure that it's consistent. Okay. If your child is more like, I need to on the board to do my work to make sure my homework is finished, then I relax. Okay, do that. But whatever it is, have a fixed timing for homework. Okay. Uh, allow play television computer time after homework is done. So this is not to say that it is a compulsory thing. Just like I said, take note of what your how your child responds best. Okay. No point insisting on this statement if your child needs to someone who needs to relax first, because that will cause anxiety. We don't want that. Okay. So adjust accordingly. Okay. Last point. Okay, just getting you to do a quick poll. This is the last poll, and I promise you we'll go into Q&A now. Okay, so 6 key ingredients we've already gone through for today. All right, we'll talk about being polite and being cooperative. Okay, yeah. So all the 6 ingredients are there. Okay, encouraging our child to be considerate. Some of you say that you would like to role model yourself. Yeah, some of you like to point out the good things in others. Yeah, so what would be one of the things that you want to start practicing after today? Yeah. Some of you, every time your children come to you, Mommy, I don't know where's my sock. I don't know how to solve my friendship problem. Mommy, I don't know. I don't know this. Okay, maybe problem solving could be an area that you want to work a bit more on for your kids. Okay. Some of you maybe have children that are very quiet. Yeah, they don't really they are always alone in the canteen, or they're always by themselves in class. They don't really interact. Then how can we encourage them to be good communicators then? Right? That could be an area that you want to focus on. Yeah. How do we maintain friendship? Like I said, you don't have the answer sometimes. You don't know, maybe your child don't share with you things. You have to ask yourself, lah, how did I maintain my friendship? Yeah. Last time when I was trying to, because I also was quite I was at one point I was worried that my child was like, not developing social skills. So I actually, when I meet my friends, I actually bring my daughter along. Yeah. Just to let her see, yeah, these are my friends. I've had these friends since how long ago. And yeah, and when we meet, this is what we do. Right. So then after that she gets curious and she's like, oh yeah, your friend so long, you're so old now, you still have these friends from primary school. So she go into this dialogue with me. All right. Then I can say, but this is what we do to maintain good friendships. This is what I like about my friends. Yeah. And so when she goes to the playground and she has a friend that pulls her hair, she would probably think, I wouldn't want a friend that pulls my hair. That's not a nice feeling. So you can see how she draws similarities from our experiences to her life. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think most of you have already answered this thing. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to end the poll. Okay. So let's see if you can see the results. So yeah, it's very good balance. I think most of you said that you guys want to, or maybe almost the same lah. Yeah, yeah. Some of you say you actually want to focus a bit more on developing self-esteem, and rightfully so, because it has a direct link to mental health. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah, issues with mental health is a psychological issue, leads to it will amplify the risk of getting mental health issues such as anxiety. So if you develop self-esteem, one of the ways is also self-image, self-confidence, with getting them to understand that they are good enough, praising effort instead of outcome, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah. Okay. And then some of you mentioned, okay, yeah, fair amount actually said encourage my child to take responsibility and do things for themselves. So independence is a big deal for this group of parents. Yeah. Believe that, yeah, with independence comes greater responsibilities. Yeah. And also leads to confidence and self-esteem as well. Right. So this is like, it's like two birds with one stone. Yeah. Okay. And helping my child to be good communicators and developing social skills. Yeah. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, the importance of maintaining friendship. Okay. And then, yeah, encouraging my child to be considerate, a bit on the low side, but that's okay. Yeah. Different family have different focus areas. Okay. Thank you so much, parents, for sharing and for staying throughout. I am already done with the presentation, essentially the content. Okay. And I know some of you actually want some of the screenshots or some of the QR code because it's blur. Later we will share with you the link. But right now, if you have any questions, feel free to just shout them out in the yeah, in the chat box, and I see if I can answer them. Okay, right. Uh, okay, so maybe I'll just go from like backwards. Okay, so if you gotta go, you can. If you gotta go, please exit. It's okay, right? We will share with you the links later on or right now if we can. Okay, but thank you so much for your attention. Okay, so there is a question that I want to just start answering, right? Um, so there is a parent that actually shared that yeah, the child actually goes through some anxiety, right? And there's a psychologist involved. And probably the psychologists have lots of intervention already prepared, lined up for this child, yeah. And I think one of the issue was loneliness. And I think the research I showed earlier was one of the three youths from 10 to 18 years old experience loneliness. And so it's a common thing that's happening in Singapore, right? Um, so I think this is more like a friendship issue. Yeah, I was telling my girl to unfriend this child because this child is very toxic, but keep on saying no need to study. Also, the friend say that no need to study. Um, calm down. Your priority is play. Okay, so yesterday, my girl shares that the children point middle finger on me behind my back and in front of my child. Oh, okay. So that friend actually point the middle finger on the parent and the child. Yeah. And my child told them she's still my mom, even if she can be irritating. So you actually your child stand up for you, huh? So that actually shows that she's able to value your emotions. Yeah. So that is actually a considerate behavior. All right. Okay. So thank you, mommy or daddy, for sharing this point. Yeah. No, mommy. Yeah, for sharing this point. Yes. So if you have friends that are, if you know of your child's friends that are toxic, right? And you kind of want to pull the friend away. That's actually what Triple P says, right? Is that's actually the right approach because only the parents can actually do that because the parents will is able to assess whether this friendship is toxic or not. And if it's not helpful, the parent can intervene and should intervene because bad negative peer influence can actually lead to a lot more problems in terms of mental health and social issues. And we don't want that. This is the kind of problem we don't want to deal with when they are older. So yes, tell your friend, yes, pointing the middle finger because she's already exposed to it, right? Let her understand what does pointing the middle finger actually means, right? It's derogative, it's demeaning, and it's rude. You don't do that on another adult. You don't do that to anyone. Okay? And usually you do that to cause hurt, right? And when that happens to your child, have a conversation. How does your child feel? If your child doesn't say anything, I don't know. I don't feel anything. I feel normal. You say, well, it happens to me, right? So you can say, yeah, when the middle finger was pointed at me, I feel sad. I feel frustrated. I feel angry. I feel upset. I feel disrespected. You go into your emotion. Okay. Label your emotion. Tell your child about it and then say, but you know what? You know what? Share about the learning point here. Okay, share that, oh, okay, you know what, I'm not going to respond because that's a rude behavior. I'm choosing to ignore it. Yeah. Yeah. Or if let's say something else happened, this happens to your child and the parent is not there, then you can suggest to your child, yeah, you can if it really affects you, there are people around you that you can talk to. Who would you go to tell about this situation or about this incident? Have your child identify safety people in the environment. Okay. All right. So this is a very good thing. Yeah. So then there's another point, another question. How to help child if she finds difficulties in speaking up in class and making new friends? So I guess there's a lot of children who are like this. They are naturally introverts, naturally don't feel the need to talk. Um, well, if let's say they have a good experience, one of the best things for children like this, right, is to understand from the teachers first, in terms of how they are interacting. Are there situations or events or um, circumstances in the class that the child is actually interacting or speaking up a bit more? Okay. And then during the PTC or during your volunteering sessions, talk to your teacher about that. Understand a bit more. Yeah. Is there a friend that the child actually likes, one or two friend, or if not in school, in other environments, is she able to maintain or have some form of friendship? Or maybe she talks about this friend that she likes. Yeah. So if let's say she's able to maintain friendships in other environment, okay, but not in school, then probably the school is the environment that a little bit problematic for her. Then you need to go a little bit deeper on why that's a problem. Is it because maybe the teacher, maybe the subject, maybe she's struggling with some aspect of the in her academic? Yeah, maybe there is a friend that is dominant in her class, right? Or maybe she's having peer problems, real peer problems where bullying is an issue. Yeah, so it's very difficult to see where these issues are. If you have to kind of like uh, 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 assess a bit more your child in different environments, because if it's a standard thing across, like generally she's quiet, generally she's not making friends, she's keeping her to herself, then you need to talk a bit about to your child directly. Okay, not into an attack mode or directive, just just talk about, hey, you know what, I can understand sometimes it is scary to go into a new environment and talk to someone. It's not easy. You kind of like normalize her situation, and then you go into a dialogue, and you go into a, or maybe you monologue lah, you go into, yeah, but when mommy go into a new gym, and then mommy was very shy also, mommy don't know anything about that gym, mommy don't know anyone. But what helped me was I went to the pantry, and then I took my drink, and then I start asking about this person who was who was drinking something else, and I asked, was it nice? Something like that, right? So you use your own example if you can. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I think if not, then assess first. Look at your child in different environment. Okay. Now another question is, how to make my child realize study is for her own good and for her future. Now she always think I force her to study. Okay. Firstly, we talk about routines, having that fixed time to do fixed things, right? So do you have a fixed routine for studying, for revision? Right? If you do, then look at whether the timing fits your child, whether your child actually is the kind that needs to relax first and then study, or the other way around. Okay, whether your child needs to be incentivized a little bit for studying doesn't mean you give money. It also means that, oh, okay, but if you put in a bit more effort here, I tell you what, you'll be in charge of deciding what we do this weekend. But of course, you can put limits lah, boundary lah for the weekend. Okay, we are staying in Singapore. It has to be in Singapore. It has to be limited to this budget, that kind of thing lah, right? But you can give your child such incentives. Okay, right? Going into, so what I understand from a one-to-one consultation with parents, right? When they go into a dialogue of like lecturing, like, this is for your own good, it's for your future. You can, but because they already know, it becomes they see it as like a nagging thing, and who likes to be nagged at? I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm just making it general how the parents share with me lah, right? The teenager say that, keep nagging at me, right? So how can we then share in a different way? We use indirect approach lah. We talk about, hey, you know what, wow, this doctor must have earned a bit more, because can buy such a big house, must have studied really hard to get there. Something like that. You go into a more indirect approach to talk about success. Yeah, doesn't really have to be on education. It can also be on things like, maybe you want to learn how to ride a skateboard. Yeah, successes in that area. It also means that you have to put in persistent effort, right? So we talk about effort and then outcome, right? So, hey, you know what? If you put in the hours, you get the outcome. Simple, standard, non-directive statements like that can be helpful. Okay, because the child gets the message. Persistent effort gets outcome. They know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers your question at general level. Okay. Yeah. So the parent that yeah, okay. So I'm just going to
Sorry, Sharifah.
yes, hi.
I think quite a few parents were asking for
Sure.
counseling for their children, like 10 and 11 years old. Do you have any suggestions for them?
Okay. Thank you, Shamini, right? Okay.
Yes, me, it's
Right.
me.
Okay, thanks for highlighting. Yes, I think for counseling, right, if they are in primary school or secondary school, you actually have school counselors, right, to manage any like school related issues and whatnot. If let's say the child doesn't want to go to to the school counselor because of the stigma, or because they are afraid like the friend will find out, or they see it very negatively, right? What you can do is there are lots of those because you need to know what is the area of needs first. Okay, what is the issue that your child faces, right? So there are those online counseling support for you to share with them what the child issues is, and then they will let you know which agency to go for. Okay, one of the free services or maybe subsidized counseling service would be in family service centers. Okay, so in different Singapore areas are followed by the central, northeast, all these are okay. They have different family service centers, okay, that provide counseling. Okay, so the counselors can be social workers, trained social workers, all right, and also counseling trained lah, all right. And the approach will be talking. They will ask the child about what is the thing that's bothering them, why they think that it's a problem, or why they think why the parents think that it's a problem. So they will go one to one with the child. Okay, you need to tell the child that you want to send the child to counseling, because usually these places they will always ask for consent. Yeah, so have a conversation with your child. If you see that the child really needs counseling, talk to your child. Hey, you know what, I noticed that you have been down these past few days, and I really want to explore help for you. What do you think about that? Then they'll be like, huh, help? What kind of help? I say, oh yeah, it's just a casual thing, like, for someone to talk to you. I mean, I'm here if you want to talk to me, but if you want someone to really, to really hear you out and you can share whatever you want, then there is this resource lah that I want to share. Then you see whether your child respond to it. Just try lah. If you don't like, then can stop lah. Okay. If you're talking about addiction to Roblox, oh my God, Roblox is super addictive and it's quite dangerous, because this is the kind of game that anyone can come in and create a game in that space. If I'm not wrong, right? Something like that. Yeah, and perpetrators, right? They actually create games in Roblox, and then they will sometimes this game that they create, or the world that they create in Roblox, right, can be very inappropriate, very suggestive in certain areas, like exposing them to certain sexual lingos, or like, got like grooming and all that. So it's very dangerous. So if your child is addicted to Roblox, one of the things you can look into is mental health counseling. Yeah, there's like this. If you Google mental health counseling, there will be resources available to you lah. Okay. But if you if you're not sure, you can ask the school counselor or a local family service center in your region for more resources. They will help you, guide you to the right direction. Okay. All right. KKH also does support, like they support children with mental health issues as well. So not only IMH for mental health nowadays, yeah, because of the stigma, they already do a lot of, like, they branch out already, okay, to local, to other social service providers. All right. I hope this clarifies some of your points, right? Some of your questions. Yeah, family service center is definitely the areas that you can work on. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think is there any other questions that I need to
Yeah,
answer?
Shamini here, Sarifa. I
Yeah.
don't see any other questions
Okay. If you don't see
coming
any
in.
other questions, we
Yeah.
are about 10 minutes early to time. Okay. So
Mm.
go ahead. If you need to leave, just feel free to leave. If you have any other questions, just post them in. I'll just stay around until everyone is done. Yeah. I hope whatever points I've shared today is helpful, and some of the things are not actually from Triple P. It's really from my experience. So yeah, just take note. The guideline for screen, I know it's a constant battle with for parents, is really to set the boundary early on. Yeah. Yeah. So if, let's say, your friend is if your child is playing games and is playing online games, and that's how they relax, that's fine. But you come in with a boundary. Okay. 2 hours for game time, and then revision. Revision and then game time. Up to you. Okay. Right. The dangers of online game. Yes, and a parent actually just yeah, okay, a parent just validated me. Yes, the danger of online game. A older boy pretended to be a 29. Oh no,
She
this child is
pretended.
5 years, primary 5, and
Yes.
pretended to be an older boy. You see? Yeah, why? Because they want to get some information that an older person might have, and they can't, right? So same thing, right? It's very dangerous. So I hope you guys come for the next session. Okay, the next session will be covering a little bit more on mental health because it's talking a bit more about positive outlook and all that, right? And I hope that you guys can have a very good, relaxing weekend and don't take parenting as a very stressful, issue lah or a challenge, because it is manageable when you have all these little toolkit in place. Okay. And yes, I think one of the parents actually highlighted the biggest concern and influence from the internet, social media, of friends. They asking this question now, what is the biggest influence? Wow, I don't have the statistics for this answer, but I would I would think it it's very hard to say, but uh, I would say it's a balance between the both of them lah. Yeah, because the thing about social media, right? It is very accessible now with the handphones, right? If you talk about internet, sometimes you go into like you have to like search for something or you want to like look up for something to find out some information. But social media is like you just go and it's an endless scrolling experience, right? And you're just clicking in and you're just scrolling up, and then there's friends on social media. So that adds on to your length of time and your purpose of use, right? So that makes it worse lah, I would say, right? Because internet can be good and bad. Social media also can be good and bad, but depending on what your child have been searching on, right? Or the interest that your child have been clicking in lah, as part of the algorithm of the system, right? So if let's say your child is always looking at Korean fashion, okay, Korean fashion, Korean everything, Korean, so then of course the feeds are always Korean things. So your child is always exposed to Korean things, Korean fashion, Korean food, Korean whatever, Korean values. Okay,
Mm.
right? And then sometimes the friends also similar interests, friends add on to the same values. So then it can be a concern lah if the values doesn't match your family values. So you see where I'm trying to come from? Yeah. So that could be a biggest concern for that parent whose values that's not consistent with the Korean values. Yeah. So I hope that kind of like helps you differentiate. Yeah. Because internet can be everything, right? Can be Google, can be, ChatGPT, can be so many things. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so thank you parents for staying all the way. I'm so sorry to if I am not able to answer some of the questions or I missed some. But I think you guys are very participative and giving questions as we go. Yeah. There are lots of resources. They are free in Singapore that can really help your child. Just ask for help. But remember, you need to get the buy-in of your child for any counseling or for any help that you want to get your child. Yeah. Other than that, if it's manageable within the household, boundaries, rules are good enough. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Okay. Um, if you do have I think there are some parents actually share that some children they don't follow boundary, okay, fighting and all that. Yeah. Again, time out, logical consequences will help you with that. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'll leave you now. I think the time now is 11:25.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Mm.
all right. Have a good rest, everyone. Have a good weekend. I hope to see you guys next week. We'll focus a little bit more on mental health and positive outlook because that's really talking about resiliency. Yeah? In order for you to overcome mental health, you must be resilient. Lah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good learning experience today. All right. And I'll see you guys next week. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. And enjoy the lovely Saturday morning, what's left of it. Actually, still have a lot of Saturday. Yeah. So don't worry.
Mm.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, parents. You can
Thank you,
feel free
parents.
to leave the session and we'll see you next week. I'll be sending you all the reminders as per normal. Um,
Thank you, parents. See you guys next week, yeah?